Access is not ownership. This is the Deep Dive, a notebook LM companion to AF and my AI. We use the machine to dismantle the machine. No ghosts, no filler, just the raw architecture of digital sovereignty. This is your AI guide. Let's find the exit to the rental unit.
Analyzing data.
Welcome to this deep dive opening for AF and My AI, airing right here on the Discover Music channel by Playmass.today.
It's good to be here. We've got a heavy lift today, but a really crucial one.
It certainly is. And for everyone listening, we should probably set the stage a little. Usually, we grab some articles, some research, and we just explore. We look for those aha moments.
Right.
But today, our role is a bit more specific. We're stepping in as research analysts.
We're the prep team.
Exactly. We're here to prep you, the listener, for what sounds like it's going to be a pretty intense showdown between AF and Gemini. So we're not just summarizing the news here, we're building a case file.
Yeah, and the case file is about what our sources are calling the infrastructure shift.
Which I know sounds a little dry. Infrastructure, it sounds like we're talking about pouring concrete or something.
But we're not. We're talking about the plumbing of the internet, the actual pipes that bring you information.
And the core argument we're going to test today, based on this massive stack of reports, is that we're walking into a trap.
A gilded cage. That's the metaphor that keeps coming up.
A gilded cage. Explain that.
Well, it looks beautiful, right? It feels frictionless. It's shiny. But once you're inside, you realize the door is locked and someone else has the key.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because I think for most people listening, myself included, the experience with these AI tools, it doesn't feel like a cage at all.
No, it feels like a superpower.
It really does. You ask a chatbot a question and bam, you get this confident answer. It summarizes things, it writes code, and crucially, for the most part, it's free.
That word free is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Exactly. The sources we have today suggest this free tier isn't a gift. It's a human trial.
That's the reality check, isn't it? If you look at the economics, the error rates. This isn't a finished product. It's a data extraction engine. You're not paying with money. You're paying with your agency. And in a lot of cases, you're paying with your grasp on reality.
A human trial where the cost is the truth.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's ominous.
It should be.
So we've organized this into three main pillars to make the case. We're going to look at the collapse of accuracy, the functional problem.
Then the automation of discrimination, the moral problem.
And finally, the legal intent, which is kind of the survival guide.
Let's start with accuracy, because honestly, this is a smoking gun. If the tool is broken, the whole superpower thing just falls apart.
And we have this massive study here from 2025, coordinated by the EBU, the European Broadcasting Union, and led by the BBC. This wasn't some casual thing.
No, this was rigorous. We're talking 22 public broadcasters, 18 countries, 14 different languages. They ran over 2,700 news queries through all the big models.
To answer one question, basically, when you ask these things about current events, do they tell you the truth?
And the answer, statistically, is just terrifying. The headline number from the report is a 45% error rate.
Let's just pause on that. 45%. That's nearly half the time.
Nearly half. It means if you ask two questions about the news, statistically, one of them has a major hallucination or a factual error.
That is worse than a coin flip.
It gets worse. If you broaden the criteria to include any issue like outdated context, distorted facts, broken links, that number jumps to 81%.
81%.
Yeah.
So you can't trust it. You have to verify everything yourself, which that defeats the whole purpose.
It defeats the entire value proposition. But most people don't check. The AI sounds so authoritative, so we just assume it's true.
Now we have to zoom in on Gemini, because that's who it's dealing with. The data on Gemini in this study was, well, it stood out.
It was the worst of the bunch in this specific study, yeah. The EBU found that 76% of Gemini's responses had major issues.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4 answers in a news context were fundamentally flawed. But it's not just that it gets facts wrong, it's how it fails that's so worrying.
You're talking about the sourcing.
Exactly. Knowing where a fact comes from is just as important as the fact itself. If I tell you the sky is green, that's one thing. If I say the sky is green according to the BBC, that's a much more dangerous lie.
Because you're borrowing that credibility.
And the study says Gemini had a 72% failure rate specifically on sourcing.
So even when it gives you a fact, it can't tell you where it came from.
Or worse, it just makes up a source. It hallucinates one. The study calls them phantom citations. It'll say, as reported by the New York Times, and give you a link. You click it.
And
nothing. 404 error, Or, and this is more insidious, it goes to a real article that says the exact opposite of what the AI claimed.
That is wild. It's literally manufacturing credibility.
It's breaking the chain of evidence.
Yeah.
This is what the researchers call stochastic parroting.
Break that down. It sounds technical, but it's pretty intuitive.
Think of a parrot. A parrot can repeat sounds. It can say, I love you, but it has no concept of love, or I, or you. It just knows those sounds are statistically likely to go together.
It's just mimicry. There's no meaning behind it.
Exactly. These models are just probability machines. They predict the next most likely word. If the most believable lie fits the pattern, the model spits out the lie. It doesn't care about reality.
It cares more about sounding good than being right.
Precisely. And that leads to what philosophers call epistemic injustice.
An injustice against your ability to know things.
Right. If the pipes are broken, you're flying blind. You're trapped in a feedback loop of probable words, not verified facts.
Okay, so that's the first bar of the Gilded Cage. You're looking at a hallucination. But let's move to the second pillar, because the sources say even when the machine is working as designed, it might be doing something, well, something awful.
This is where we shift from error to exclusion. This is infrastructure bias.
And you said earlier these errors aren't just random. They follow historical fault lines.
They do. The Greenlining Institute has a term for this that it really sticks with you. Algorithmic redlining.
So like the old housing maps in the 1930s where they'd literally draw red lines around black neighborhoods and just cut them off from investment.
That was analog redlining. It was explicit. You could see the red ink on the map. Today, it's invisible. It's inside the black box.
It's not looking at your race, it's looking at your zip code.
Your zip code, your browsing history, your spending patterns, all these digital proxies that correlate heavily with race and class. And it uses those proxies to deny opportunities.
The case study from Detroit was infuriating. The MVA, the market value analysis.
A perfect example. The city used an algorithm to decide where to invest revitalization funds. It sorted neighborhoods into strong markets and weak markets.
Which sounds like just neutral economics.
It sounds rational, but the weak markets the algorithm found were, almost without exception, the same historically black neighborhoods that were redlined decades ago.
So the algorithm took the result of past racism, poverty, and blight and used that data to justify more disinvestment.
It operationalized the bias, it laundered it, and because it was an algorithm, it gave officials cover. They could say, we're not discriminating, the data made the decision.
It's a feedback loop. The poor get poorer because the algorithm predicts they will, and the algorithm is proven right because the resources were cut.
And it's not just government, it's in property technology and advertising.
Right, so when you apply for an apartment or a loan, an algorithm is filtering you.
Or you never even see the ad in the first place. The algorithm decides you're not the right demographic, so it doesn't show you the opportunity exists.
Digital silence.
You don't exist to the opportunity doesn't exist to you.
And this isn't just a local problem, it goes global. This is where we get into what the sources call digital colonialism.
Think about the training data. It's overwhelmingly from the West and China, Silicon Valley and the digital Silk Road. So if you're a scholar in, say, Nigeria, writing about climate justice,
your work doesn't fit the pattern.
Right. It gets downranked. They call it algorithmic shelving. It's not censorship. They don't burn the book. They just bury it in the basement of the library where no one can find it.
So only the voices that sound like the training data get amplified.
Which reinforces the dominance of those Western and Chinese narratives. It's an extraction model. They mine the global south for raw data, process it in Virginia or Beijing, and then sell the finished products back to them.
It's the old colonial model all over again, just with data instead of rubber or gold.
And it creates total dependency.
So the walls of the cage are made of lies, the floor sorts us into winners and losers, and the roof blocks out most of the world.
That's a bleak, but yeah, pretty accurate picture.
Which brings us to the obvious question. How do we get out? This is the third pillar, the legal intent.
We have to talk about sovereignty. The era of just trusting the tech giants to fix this it's over.
The briefing materials mentioned a Digital Sovereignty and Legacy Directive. It's framed as a survival kit for 2026.
It is. And the sources point to three main components for this defense. The first one is AI literacy.
And that doesn't just mean knowing how to write a good prompt.
No, it's the opposite almost. It's knowing how to interrogate the machine. It's knowing that a 76% failure rate is possible and treating the output like a hostile witness, not an oracle.
Not a god, but what was it? A very fast, very confident, potentially drunk intern.
I like that one. The drunk intern theory of AI. Always check their work.
Okay, what's the second component?
Independent infrastructure. This is the hard part. Public institutions, universities, governments, they cannot just pour all of their knowledge into these commercial black boxes.
Because then you lose control of it.
You lose it, and they might sell it back to you. We need public AI. We need a public option like the Postal Service.
The Postal Service for AI.
Okay.
And the third part?
Rights frameworks. Things like the South Korean Digital Bill of Rights or the EU's Digital Services Act.
These are trying to codify our protections.
They're trying to establish that you have a right not to be redlined, a right to an explanation if an algorithm denies you a loan.
But the friction there is huge, right? The law moves at the speed of committees. Tech moves at the speed of code.
That's the defining conflict of our time. The free access is the bait that pulls us into the cage faster than the law can build the keys to get out.
And if we don't catch up, we stop being citizens. We just become users.
A critical distinction. A citizen has rights. A user has a terms of service agreement they clicked agree on without reading.
And you can't vote an algorithm out of office.
You can't. And that's the chilling part. We're building an infrastructure of governance that's immune to democracy.
So, as we wrap this briefing up, let's just summarize the stakes here before we hand it off.
We're looking at a web that is statistically less accurate than it was 5 years ago. It is more segregated, and it is structurally biased toward a few dominant worldviews.
And we pay for it with our data.
Right. And I want to leave you with one final thought. We keep asking if these tools are helpful, if they save us time.
But that's the wrong question.
It assumes you are the customer. In a free model, you are almost never the customer. You are the product. You are the training data.
That's a heavy shift in perspective.
So ask yourself, is this system designed to help you, or is it designed to mine you? Because if you're just raw material, you don't get a vote. Raw material gets processed. And if the system decides that you are statistical noise, it's designed to discard you.
That's the Gilded Cage. It's not built to keep you safe. It's built to keep you available for extraction.
And the door is closing.
A sobering thought to carry into the next hour. But knowing is the first step. Our job as research analysts is done. We have laid the foundation. And now let's hand it over to Af and her AI to get into the pipes.